Hey guys, Jake Spurley, Fair and Event. I am absolutely stoked today because today was the launch of Fair and Event 2.0. You think of 2.0, there's only been two iterations. No, there's been many, but 2.0 was such a big release for us that it deserved a new number of two instead of 1 point whatever. So today I just wanted to walk you through some of the key new features that were just released for Fair and Event 2.0 for our booth management and floor plan mapping solution. Let's get into it here. So if you've already worked with us, you've already been a user, customer of ours, you're probably already familiar with kind of the back end. If you're new, you've never used Fairnet before, this would be a great little surprise for you. You can kind of see some of the new features and kind of what the back end looks like. So when you create your account, you have a list of all your different events here. You can manage multiple events from one account. Super handy if you're an event organizer doing multiple different events. We added this nice renew event button. So after your first event is done, instead of having to recreate your event and build all your forms, redo your maps, you can actually just hit renew event and it'll basically make a copy of your previous event for the new year. So it'll keep all your booths, all your pricing, all your forms, all that sort of fun stuff. It'll keep it there so you can just update it and change maybe a little bit of wording, maybe some pricing on some booths, and it's all really ready to go for you to launch going into the next year. So if we go into a specific event, let's do West Side County Fair for fun. Actually, let's go back for a second. If we go back, you will now notice you have underneath the financials tab, you have your payment method, but you also have you can update plans. So now we have multiple different pricing tiers to really meet everybody's unique needs. So there's 3 different pricing tiers, really based off your needs. And it's still all based off of how many approved vendors or how many approved applications you have. So you're charged for the approved applications for your event. And now they're billed monthly. So let's say you approve 5 vendors in January, you'll be, billed for those 5 vendors in January one time. Let's say you approve none in February, you won't be charged anything in February. Maybe you approve 1 in March, you'll be just charged for that 1 in March. So it's really a more fluent way for you to really scale with your business and your events, and really maybe you have a really large show that has 1,000 booths, but maybe you run a different show that only has like 100. You can still really scale with our software, and it's very affordable pricing. You only pay for what you use. That's really a big deal for us. So if we go into the events here, we'll hop back in there, West Side County Fair. You notice down here on the left-hand side, just out of the gate, we just actually entered into a teamed up, I guess you should say, with Vistaprint. So if you go down here and click the print shop, that'll take you to our own print shop that's integrated with Vistaprint. It's actually Vistaprint. It's called the Pro Shop. So we have our own Pro Shop. So if you need anything printed for your events, you can do that. The nice thing about it is if you're a Fair and Event user, you get 20 to 40% off any Vistaprint order when you order through our Pro Shop. So we're just looking trying to add more value for you. And we know folks in the event industry are always buying things that need to be printed for their upcoming events. So nice little perk for you if you're a Fair and Event user. So going into it here, dashboard pretty much the same. You can now look at your archive data. So let's say you've run your show 3 years in a row with using Fair and Event. You can always look back at previous years. So you can look up, applications, booth assignments, all financials, all that sort of fun stuff quickly at a glance. If you also look at the event profile, event profiles have now been updated as well. It's a little more clean, a little more sleek. You can see we made it very apparent where somebody can apply for a booth, where to find the map, all the different kind of info here that vendors would need to see, or that exhibitors would want to see as well if they were looking to buy a booth. If we go into setup, so we kind of move things around a little bit. Anything that has to do with creating something, setting something up, that's going to be underneath your setup. So your forms, your booths, products, documents, contracts, all that sort of fun stuff, it's going to be in the setup tab. So we start at the top. Custom forms is the same. Something that's new is products and services. So a lot of events offer, like electricity, water, maybe it's like a marketing package, something additional that just kind of needs to be managed a little bit separately. Or if you're using our Fusion technology, maybe you're renting out devices to your exhibitors for our RFID products or whatever that might look like. So here you can actually add a product to your event. So maybe this is 20 amp electricity. The product price is $50. Description is electricity, and maybe you want to limit the number of items a single exhibitor can request. So maybe let's do a maximum of 2. You don't want them to request more than 2. If you want to throw in a product image, you can also do that as well. So hit create product. So now it puts the product here. We'll kind of show you how to link this up to your applications as well here in just a couple of minutes. Event booths, pretty much the same. If we go into booth sizes, here's something new. If you create a new booth size, you can now, all the booth pricing is all done in the booth size. So if you have a 10 by 10 and a 10 by 20, you put in the booth price. That way, when your exhibitors are filling out their application, they can actually select their preferences, and you can kind of manage that separately now. So instead of having to kind of go through the form that they filled out, you can quickly at a glance see, oh, they want a 10 by 10, and you can quickly hit a button and you can charge them for that 10 by 10. Very quick, very easy. You can also put you can put tags in there too. So before you could only create one booth size. You could create like one 10 by 10 booth. Now you can create a 10 by 10 corner booth, a 10 by 10 inline booth, a 10 by 10, I don't know, food booth, whatever that might look like for your show. Now you have the ability to do that. If we go into application types, here's kind of a couple more different things. Previously, if you wanted to test out an application, you had to create an exhibitor profile and kind of go through it just as if you were applying to your own show. Now we have this cool little test feature here. So if you hit that test button, it'll actually show you exactly what the exhibitors and vendors are going to be seeing when they're applying to your show through that specific application type. So a great way to see what the exhibitors are going to see, just so you can kind of test things out and make sure you set it up correctly. If we go into a random application here, this is mostly all the same. The only real big difference here is going to be under products and services. I showed you how to add a product. So now we can assign this product to this application. So, which is super handy because maybe, your commercial exhibitors don't need to have the electricity option, but maybe your food vendor exhibitors need the electricity option. So again, the ability to create custom workflows is really 100% in your hands. So we go here, we can hit, is it required? So if you don't click that, it won't force them to select anything. If you make it required, it will force them to input some sort of answer if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever that looks like. You just hit add. Yes, add to the application. Perfect. So now when an exhibitor applies, they'll go through, they'll be taken to a screen that says, hey, how many of these do you want? They can hit, I want 1, and they can move on to the next step. And when you get their application, you can say, Jake's vending business wanted 1 20 amp electrical outlet. Great. I'm going to, approve that, and I'm going to charge him the $50 for that. Done. We're all finished there. So that is kind of the biggest change to the app setup. We'll back out and go contract templates about the same. So contracts are really, sometimes people get confused with contracts. Contracts are specifically for if your show, if a vendor applies, they fill out a form, and then, when they're approved, then you need to send them a contract after the fact. So this is a great way. You can still create a contract template, fill in any unique information you need, and send the contracts to individual vendors as you need to send the contracts out. Settings, about the same. So one cool thing is you have all these different marketplace options now. So you really have a lot more control of what your profile looks like. So you can hide or display any information that you want. Really 100% up to you. If we go into exhibitors, this is also mostly the same. But if we go into, let's say, Jake's Elephant Ears, you can kind of see the layout is a little easier just to manage. Upload a document, change statuses. You can also send a form. So let's say they apply, but now they're approved, and now you need to send them a form because now they need to fill out, a health services form, for example. You can now hit send form, choose which form you want to send them, and then you can send them that form. It'll send them a little notification like, hey, you need to fill out this form. And you can manage that form just like any other form you do here. If you go to financials, that's also about the same. If you go down to booth assignment, here's kind of a nice booth assignment's actually the same as well. So you still have all the different options here to assign, unassign booths, which is super, super handy. we go into products and services, if they were to request a product, this is where it would say, hey, this person requested this many products, and here's where you would click yes, accept, charge, bam, they're all done. Sales should be the same, and then messages is also the same. We kind of just did a little update here visually, and then notes will also be the exact same. So just a couple little updates just to really make the workflow better for all the users. That was really a big goal for us, is to make the workflow better for all users and just kind of fix little knickknacks that would make your life easier while you're using the software. The map builder is probably one of the big ones here. So instead of having to scroll left and right, up and down, you can now zoom in and out to see different things. You also still have the drag and drop ability. When a vendor is assigned to a booth and approved, it will now show up on the booth itself. So you don't have to put text on the booth. It now shows up there pretty nice and easy. You also have different areas. So if you wanted to do like multiple different areas, you can create each specific area, but then you could also create like an overview map with all the areas, kind of like a bird's eye view of the whole event, which is, I think, very, very nice. And then if you look at the front end of the map, I think this is one of the best, features, if you will. One of the updates is if you go, let's see, view booth map. Oh, it's showing up in a different tab, so you can't see it. When you hit view booth map, it pulls up a radically different look to the booth, where you can actually click on an exhibitor. It'll pull up their profile. You can see all the different products that they're selling. So if I'm an attendee, now it's super, super cool because I can see all the exhibitors that are attending the show. And I can see what products they're selling, where they're at. It's all interactive still. So I just get a better, I'm more engaged with the exhibitors are there, and I know in real time what products are where, and I can quickly find exactly, what I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. The screen recording wasn't letting me do it. But so now if I, click on an exhibitor, this was manually added. That's a terrible example. But here you can see Jay-Z Bread. I just clicked on their booth and I can see all the products that they're selling. I can see their contact information. And this is all stuff that your exhibitors are already adding to their profile. This is a demo account, so it doesn't look great. But the more products your exhibitors are adding to their profile page, the better this is going to look. The more images they add, the better it's going to look, which is super, super handy. If they also just want to look at a key of all the different vendors are there, they can look, just kind of by alphabetical order here, who's attending, what building they're in, or what area they're in. They can also click to view their profile. Then you also have a key of like, hey, what do all these different objects mean that are on the map? Then if I want to look at the booths, I can just look at like all the booths of, hey, booth 1 is, Jay-Z Bread. I can do the details. I can do vendor details. So a great user experience, not only for your exhibitors, but also for your attendees as well. So if we go back, that should be the nuts and bolts of it. The map, and now having subscription plans, so you can pick, what plan works best for you. Some user interface stuff. It's now much easier for your exhibitors to apply, much more streamlined, I should say. And just you, the user of the back end, there's just a lot of things that have been upgraded to make your user experience a lot better. If you have any questions, feel free to just click this blue little key support button. It'll open up the chat window where we can chat in real time. If you have any questions, we're always happy to kind of facilitate those and make sure that you are successful in using for an event. Anywho, thank you. Have a great day. And we look forward to better serving you in your events using the Fair Event platform. Thanks.